And now, to kick off our presentations for the Quebec Spotlight this morning, I'd like to welcome J.C. St Amour, President and CEO of Vanstar Mining Resources, a gold exploration company with properties located in Northern Quebec at different stages of development, including a 25% interest in the Nelligan Project that won the Discovery of the Year award at the 2019 Quebec Mineral Exploration Association Xplor Gala. JC, welcome. The stage is yours.
Hi everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Je suis ici pour vous présenter les ressources minières Vanstar. Je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de monde ici qui ne parle pas français, so je vais faire la présentation en anglais. Pardonnez-moi pour ça. I'm here to present Vanstar Mining to everyone. I think I can, the key takeaway for this company is that we're a low-risk exploration play. And I say that for a few reasons. One is we're well-capitalized and well-financed. We have a small number of shares outstanding relative to where we are with our projects. We have less than 60 million shares outstanding, and we have more than enough money in the bank to do what we need to do over the next few years. So we don't need to finance any time in markets that are not advantageous to us. We have a flagship project that is, I would say, more than supports our value in the market these days. Currently, we're trading on the order of $15 an ounce in the ground for ounces that are to our credit, and that's for a resource that is growing and will get significantly larger this year, but also in future. And then on top of that, our flagship is carried all the way to production by our joint venture partner, which is IAMGOLD. We, Vanstar, do not have to spend any money on this project whatsoever to get it into production. So our shareholders do not need to be diluted to get the project to cash flow. And then we have other projects as well. Our secondary project is also an interesting project and a great address in the Rouyn-Noranda area, between Noranda and Val-d'Or, along the Cadillac Break, which offers great exploration potential there as well. And I may add that all our projects are in Quebec, which is obviously a mining-friendly province, one of the best jurisdictions in the world for mine development. In terms of our flagship, we're located in the CHIBOUGAMAU camp, and Vanstar has been a leader in that area. It made the discovery of Nelligan back in 2012, 2014 timeframe. Around that time, 2014, IAMGOLD came along. That was a tough time to raise money, so the company made a joint venture with IAMGOLD, who earned into the project by advancing and doing exploration on it. Vanstar retains a 25% interest currently. Ultimately, that'll be probably 20% by the time that it gets into production, because Vanstar can earn another, IAMGOLD can earn another 5% by completing a feasibility study on the project. IAMGOLD, as I say, has spent all the money on this project. We haven't had to do anything. Part of the reason we have cash in here is IAMGOLD had to make some payments as well. Nelligan is by far the largest project in this area, and with over 3 million ounces in the ground right now and growing. We have a number of other companies that have come along here and stake this area, and there's quite a bit of activity going on now as a result of this discovery. And I might add that the project is open in all directions. I'll touch on that a little later as well, and that exploration is ongoing. This is sort of the main slide and the main visual, I guess, for this project. The outline that you see here on the right is basically the pit shell for that resource that was calculated back in 2019. So it's a few years old. At the time, it was 3.2 million ounces at 1.02 grams per ton. Since then, there's been significant drilling to the west. As we can see to the west, there's a number of drill holes there that go 1.5 kilometers beyond the existing resource, beyond that pit shell, all of which have hit mineralization, all of which are interesting. And even to the west, the furthest to the west, for example, the holes have intercepted, say, slightly thinner intercepts compared to the main zone, but are at double or triple the grade as the average in the pit. So even though we're intersecting maybe 9 meters of 3 grams, that's still a great intercept for any company, for any project. And again, it's open to the west. We haven't seen the end of it yet. It's open to the east as well. It gets a little more complicated there with a number of other zones, but there's definitely potential there. And it's also open at depth. IAMGOLD just completed a winter drilling program where they tested a few holes below the pit shell, and we should be getting those results anytime in the next week or two. The goal, I guess, of the if you think about this pit, the pit shell goes down to about 300 meters. We've got effectively a million ounces per 100 meters of depth. So if you can add 1 or 200 meters of depth to this pit, you could potentially add 1 or 2 million ounces right there. And when I was on site about a month and a half ago or so, I did see one of the holes that was drilled there, and it had intercepted the main zone here, but it looked like it was much wider at depth. So I would anticipate that we'll see something interesting there. Obviously, I don't know the grades yet, but we should be seeing that in the next week or two. And then, so the big pieces of news, I guess, on this project over the next little while, we get these deep results from these deep drilling holes, and then later this year, IAMGOLD is going to provide an update to the resource, and I anticipate that a lot of the holes to the west will be added to that, more holes more ounces from depth, and so I would expect that we'll be closer to, say, 5 million ounces by the end of this year. A forward-looking statement, I don't know the numbers, but it seems reasonable to assume that we'll approach that. But I think ultimately this project's going to be much larger than that. Like I said, it's open in all directions still. There's still a lot of exploration to do on this. In terms of location, from an infrastructure perspective, it's ideal. We're just south of the town of CHIBOUGAMAU, which is a mining town. There's been a number of mining operations there over the past. We're 60 kilometers south. There are forestry roads that go pretty much right to our property that can handle heavy equipment. There's an airport, there's electricity, there's a power line running right through our property, for example. CHIBOUGAMAU itself has the workforce. It's a great location. You can see here at the top right, that's one of the forestry roads. Heavy equipment travels that all the time. There are mining operations in the area. There's power. The picture in the bottom right here was taken right off our property. So that's the power line that runs through it. From an infrastructure perspective, ideal. Airport nearby, and then in CHIBOUGAMAU itself, SOCAM and Sodimex have offices right there as well. SOCAM and SNC Lavalin. So that's our flagship. IAMGOLD's running and operating that. We don't have to do anything on it. We do have flow-through dollars that we have to spend by the end of this year. So we chose to do that on our Bousquet-Odyno project, which is a project that we are earning into from IAMGOLD this time, kind of like the opposite deal that we have with them on Nelligan. So this project cost us nothing other than spending money in the ground. We didn't have to make any payments. We didn't have to issue shares. All we have to do is spend up to $4 million in the next 4 years to get 75% of this project. And we're starting off pretty well. We'll be spending about $1.5 million on it this year. It's in an ideal location from an exploration perspective. We're right on the Cadillac Break. That break has produced well over 100 million ounces over the last 100 plus years. And, many of the mines in this area have been underground mines. So, and they can go down to kilometers. And they tend to get higher grade and potentially wider zones at depth with lower grade sort of halos near the surface. And we're seeing a bit of that here as well. We're effectively right on the highway that leads from Rouen to Malartic or in Val-d'Or. And in terms of the project, IAMGOLD did drill this. It's located fairly close to their Westwood mill, about 6 kilometers away by road. IAMGOLD drilled quite a bit, but if you notice here, like all of that drilling, or pretty much the vast majority of that drilling was drilled to 150 meters depth, so very shallow. What they were doing at the time was looking for ore that they could quickly send to that mill, and with exploration and budget constraints, they were not quite able to get there. And this was a low priority project now, given where they stand and you know, their priority on building Côté, for example, versus other exploration projects. So they allowed us to come in and do the exploration for them, with the understanding that if we do discover something here, we will process it at Westwood, which from our perspective is great. From their perspective, it's a win-win for both of us. What we're doing here is you know, like I said, a lot of the deposits along the Cadillac Break tend to get better at depth. They get higher grade, potentially higher widths. And so what we're doing is a couple things. We are drilling at depth here, and when I say at depth, we're only at 250 meters, so it's still fairly shallow. But we're following the higher grade zones. The two sort of hatched areas that you see there are higher grade zones, that chutes that basically dip down. And we're following those zones to see if we can find more of the high grade and maybe one of those blowout zones as you come down. This hole right here was our first hole announced a couple of weeks ago, and that came back with 10 meters over 10 grams, or 10 grams over 10 meters, sorry, within an intercept of 21 meters of 5.25. So it's a good hole to start with. It shows that there's good grades and good widths as we go down, and we're seeing this elsewhere. Just this morning, we announced some more results, and actually right here in this area is a lower grade area that kind of ties in the higher grade chutes, and potentially if you can tie all of this in, you can do a bulk tonnage type project from an open pittable perspective and ship it to Westwood. And so one of the holes we announced this morning, was right here. We intercepted, right here, we intercepted 18 meters at just over a gram. So that's a nice wide intercept compared to what's up above. So it looks like, again, it's getting wider at depth, and it bodes well for a sort of a bulk tonnage type of operation. And then one other hole we announced this morning is over here, where we intercepted. This is a brand new zone. It looks like there's other drilling here, but remember, we're looking at a plane here, and some of these holes are way in the back of it. So there's a new zone here that we intercepted. It's a brand new area where we intercepted 9 meters of close to 4 grams. So look, this is looking like another higher grade chute that we'll have to follow up on. So great results here. From an infrastructure perspective, it's ideal. I took this picture recently. This is basically our drill here at the bottom of the photo, and the Westwood Mill can be seen in the distance. We've done 2,500 meters of drilling, or at least that's what's been reported so far. We've got a 9,000 meter program underway, and again, can't highlight the infrastructure enough here. So, there's a quick little video here showing our drill with the workers inside it moving along. But the point here is how close we are to Westwood, and if we wanted to mine this, how easy it would be. This is our site. This is basically the Highway 117 that runs between Rouen and Val-d'Or, and the road to Westwood turns off here, which is also paved. It's basically paved road all the way. We've got power lines, major power lines running through, so everything you need to build a mining operation is here, and Westwood is just right there in the distance here. So I think just to leave you, I guess to reiterate, we're a low-risk exploration play. Our projects are largely de-risked with Nelligan being advanced enough and big enough already. It's got the scale. I'm convinced it's going to be a mine. Bousquet has great exploration potential with great upside potential, and also the ability for near-term potentially operation. And so as a result of that, I think we're a relatively low risk bet on the future and on gold. Thank you very much.